Well, hey, hot mamas. How is it going on for you today? Wow, that was a little workout. Have you moved today? Listen, my question for today is, if you're playing tennis, would you wear a basketball shoe? Well, today we're talking about buying the best shoe for walking fast. And so what can I say about that? But welcome to Crazy Sexy Menopause. I'm Betty Vargas, and I educate pre-peri and postmenopausal women on how to live more vibrantly through better applications of my 3 keys: mindset, meals, and movement. So, how do you buy your athletic shoes? Do you order them online or do you go into the store? Let me know in the comments. Well, hey, Marianne, how you doing? How's it going? How's it going? Good to see you today. Do you buy your shoes and do you buy your athletic shoes in the I'm about to say in the grocery store, in the athletic shoe store, or do you buy them online? Well, listen, if you go into the store, they have a cornucopia of shoes lining the walls. And you may gravitate towards a color that most appeals to you or a shoe that's kind of cute. But listen, let me just say to you, there is more to consider than color and cuteness in a shoe. And you may need a shoe with a low to no heel drop. And let me just share with you what a heel drop is right quick. So this is a low heel drop. There's little to no heel drop. And in comparison to this particular shoe, if you can see that, you see that this heel is way higher than this shoe. Okay, so that's the heel drop. So that may be the type of shoe that you need. You may need a shoe with a fair amount of arch or ankle support if you're a little overweight or if you have flat feet like me. And you might need a lightweight shoe or something a bit heavier. But you got to know your foot. So Marianne says that you go into the store, have to buy shoes. Good. Oh, you have to buy kids' shoes for your small feet. Oh my goodness. I did that one time, and I went in and I bought a pair of shoes in the children's section because it was so cute. And you know what? After that, they raised the price of children's shoes, one, and then I could never find those types of shoes for me anymore. So it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. But I feel you. I totally feel you in terms of going into the shoe. And sometimes I would buy a smaller men's shoe simply because it fit better and it looked better. Have you noticed that men's shoes have a much more beautiful variety of shoes? They're all colorful. They are they're just amazing. Women's shoes are really kind of bland. But anyway, with regard to knowing your shoe, you really have to figure out what it is. Well, you don't necessarily have to figure it out because I'm going to tell you right now. And you need to know your foot structure. And by that I mean, do you supinate, do you pronate, or do you have flat feet, or do you have a natural foot? So one of the things that, we'll start with the supination of the foot. And what that means is when you walk, the weight of your weight tends to be more on the outside of your foot, which is under pronation. And the way that you can tell with your shoes is that they become more worn on the outside of the sole as opposed to the inside of the sole. And so you'll see more wear and tear that way. And then now the problem with having feet that supinate is that you'll begin to see that you have stress on your ankles. You may have shin splints at times. You may see calluses on your toes and bunions. And so you might need an adjustment in your shoes. I know that I do. And then for pronation is when you walk, the opposite occurs. Your weight tends to be more on the inside of your foot, which is over pronation. And that pain will develop in your arches of your feet, your heels, your ankles, your shins, your knee, your hip, your back. So it really affects the structure of your lower body when your feet are compromised in that way. And then neutral feet is, that would be considered normal, where your foot plants heel to toe on the ground. There's no wear on either side of the shoe, and then flat feet is that you have absolutely no arch. And neutral, I believe you have a high arch. So what do you do if you have, if you figured out that you have one of these issues? I would suggest that you don't buy your shoes online until you go to a specialty shoe store to confirm what shoe fits best for your foot, because you can't tell that online. And, all shoes are different, sizes are different, so brands are different. So there's no way that you can know this unless you have purchased that shoe before, the exact same shoe, and you know that exactly that shoe will fit. And when you go into the store, a good representative will tell you what shoes are best for pronated, supinated, neutral, or flat feet. And so some of the things to look for in these shoes is, one thing is a wide toe box. Many times when you go in looking for a shoe, they will give you a shoe based on the look of your foot. So I have a bunion on my toe. And so for this particular shoe, they measured my foot based on the bunion. Okay, and so yes, definitely arch supports on shoes are different. They really and truly are. But when I was measured by the bunion and not by the size of my foot. And one of the things that I want to say initially is what to look for is that you have a generous toe box. And this area right here is considered the toe box of the shoe. So I'm going to come back. This area right up in here. And so you want to make sure that you have enough room in that area so that your feet are not squished in the shoe, because that can lead to blisters. It can lead to black toe, hammer toes, bunions, and calluses. Now, my bunion is actually hereditary, which I had no idea until I started doing research. And I was like, oh, why me? But anyway, why not me? But also, too, something to look for is you want to have a finger space between the tip of the toe and the top of the shoe. So, because if your foot is right up to the edge of the toe of the shoe, then you're going to have problems with your toes, and also that constant pressure is going to ultimately ruin your shoe. So you want to make sure that you have enough room at the tip of the toe and the top of the shoe, and also you want to be able to, if that is so, then you also want to you'll be able to put a finger space in between the back of the shoe when you put the shoe on. So that's very important. But you don't want so much room that your foot is going to be sloshing around in the shoe, because then you'll have blisters. You'll run into having blisters on your feet. Also, when if you're going to wear socks with if you're going to wear socks with your shoes, take socks with you to try on the shoes. Okay, so I'm seeing here, a little hard to see on the white shoe. Okay, what is it that you're missing? Let me do it again. I've got variety. So anyway, okay, so if you want to have a toe space between the top of the shoe and between the top of your toe and the top of the tip of the toe and the top of the shoe, and also a finger space in at the back of the shoe. Okay, and also you want to wear socks with your shoes. If you're going to wear socks with your shoes, you want to wear socks when you're trying on your shoes. Otherwise, that'll alter the comfort level of your shoe. It may be too tight with the shoes that you wear. So that's what you want to focus on with that. And also, shoes, you may notice that shoes come with inserts, and you can always take the inserts out if you forget. But most specialty stores will have socks there for you to use, and they're clean socks to try on shoes with. So you want to make sure that you do that. Now, another thing that I want to focus on is arch support. If you discover you need more arch support like me, then you want to look for a shoe that doesn't bend at the arch. Now, actually, I don't have a shoe that really, really and truly bends at the arch, but this one, without that insert, will give you somewhat of an idea. I mean, the shoe completely collapses at the arch. So if you have a shoe like that, then it would collapse at this part. Then that is not a shoe that you want to purchase if you need support. Now, if you need a lighter shoe for walking or running, and you need that support, use one of these specialized insoles or an orthotic, because what you will do, it's a little stronger than the inserts that come with the shoe. These are really flabby, so an orthotic or one of these specialized insoles give you way more support, and you see the difference in the shoe. Okay, and so this, I can walk for miles and be very, very comfortable with this particular shoe. Also, too, I have another shoe. This has a relatively low heel drop. It's a little heavier, and I wear this for training, but you see it has absolutely no give. It's amazing support. And this is the kind of shoe that you want to look for if you need that additional support in your shoe. Now, another thing that you want to look for is heel height. So, and I'm bringing this white shoe back only because, to make this demonstration, because I don't have another shoe that's comparable to like a runner shoe, because I don't run. But most runners push off the toe, and therefore they need less sole at the less sole at the toe to allow for this. So, and the heel is raised because and you've probably seen like the soles that have the gel in them, and they're really high. And so these raised heels provide cushioning and support for the heel and the Achilles tendon of the foot. So it can help to, it also, these high heels on the back for runners can also reduce the strain on the calf muscle and also the Achilles tendon. So you'll see if when the next time you go into the store and you look at a runner's shoe, you'll see way less sole at the top because they push off on the toe. Now that's not the same for walkers. Walkers have way less. They need a low heel because they plant heel to toe, heel to toe, heel to toe, and there's no need for additional cushioning. And race walkers plant on the heel, on the outside of the heel, and the foot rolls and the shoe rolls off the side of the foot and then pushes off at the toe. So there's a lot of difference between a shoe, a runner's shoe, and a walker's shoe. And so you really should know the difference because it can affect your foot in the long term. It can, and you may have pain in your lower extremities and you don't know why. And so it could be your shoe. Another thing to think about is, okay, Angelo, I'm zipping through, so let me check these comments. Do you have to go to a podiatrist to find the right orthotics? Yes, you do. Because an orthotic is not just it's not just an insert in your shoe. An orthotic is specifically designed based on your foot and the structure of your foot and how you plant and how you stand. So it's extremely important for you to go to a podiatrist to get your foot analyzed and then have an orthotic fitted specifically for your foot. I have my orthotics are specifically designed for my foot, and I have a pair for my running shoes, and I have another pair for my dress shoes that I wear out in when I'm not walking athletically. And yes, shoes are very important for different types of workout activities. Absolutely. I mean, you don't see basketball players running the court with football shoes on. So, it's extremely important. Their different shoes are made for different activities for a specific reason. So don't think that you can shirk your by buying anything or buying something because it's cute, because you may wind up having some kind of issue with your legs or your feet. Now, also, let's talk a little bit about breathability and the mesh in a shoe. Now, all of these walking shoes or athletic shoes have mesh uppers, and the reason for that is because the mesh allows for maximum air circulation for sweaty feet and allows them to breathe in the shoe and keep moisture away. And what happens when your foot it gets really moist in the shoe? It's kind of your shoe can ultimately have a little odor, and then you may wind up with athlete's foot. So you want to have some kind of ventilation in the shoe. Also, the breathability or this mesh allows for your shoe to be lighter, because there's less of this going on with the shoe, and the shoe is more flexible. So Angela says shoes are key equipment for sports activities. Absolutely. Now, with regard to the breathability, now this particular shoe I don't know why I have so many white shoes. But anyway, and I rarely wear these shoes, by the way, but and I'm going to tell you why. One, they're leather. They have a leather upper. Now, this would be an excellent shoe for someone who is like, you're going, on a plane, you're touring, and on your trip, you're walking around, you're going shopping, you're strolling. This would be a great shoe for that, because first of all, there's little to no breathability in this particular shoe. And so no canvas sneakers for walking, right? Well, for what kind of, depends on what kind of walking you're doing. And yeah, so I do kind of sort of love white shoes, Marianne, but I must say, I have to find a fail-proof way of cleaning white shoes. Anyway, but this shoe is pretty inflexible. You can see I can barely move it, which has great support. I love that about the shoe. It's a little heavy, but there's no way that I would walk I would race walk in this particular shoe. It's just not made for that. Now, this shoe, on the other hand, I could walk, like I said, I could walk all day long. It's got the mesh all over, so my foot feels really good in the shoe. It breathes. I can wear my socks or no socks with this particular shoe, and my foot feels really comfortable. It's lightweight, it's flexible. I love it. And so, what else? Any other questions, you guys? Before I go on, any other questions? But let me focus. Let me stay focused. And now, one other thing, I've pulled up several different types of shoes, and I do want to say that and they're all different brands. I want to share, some people are like really brand loyal. They will buy a specific shoe and they won't buy any other shoe. And I don't particularly agree with that, because there's some shoes that I try on, they're too narrow for my foot. Some shoes are too wide for my foot. So there are, I'm not brand loyal. Also, shoes change every year. Now, some companies say, well, we improve the shoes, but they may improve the shoe, but is it right for you? So, you can't be brand loyal in that regard. But I will say this, if you buy a shoe that best fits your foot, then I would suggest that you invest in more than one pair, because this happened to me. I bought a shoe that was absolutely, it was so comfortable on my foot. It was cute. It was, it was just everything I wanted in a race walking shoe. And it was wonderful. I literally, don't do this, but I literally wore that shoe until it fell off my foot, literally. And because I tried to find it again, tried to buy it again, and it was just never available. It went out of, they stopped making that particular brand. So I was so bummed by that. I was really bummed by it. You can see I'm still bummed by it. And so so I don't see you being, I don't suggest you be brand loyal, because you just never know when a company is going to stop making the shoe. Anyway, so I thank you, Angelo, for giving me permission to carry on. Marianne, also try to buy shoes in the middle of the day, right? When feet expand and swell. No. Well, actually, towards the end of the day. Yes, you want to buy shoes that are, and if you're going to be wearing the shoe the mostly at the end of the day, then that is when you should buy the shoes. So I typically work out in the morning, and I would buy my shoe for the time that I would be working out. Similarly, like if I was to run or walk a race, I would work out at the exact time of the event, when the event is going to take place, because that is when my body will be adjusted to not only that time, but it would be acclimated to everything that I need to do at that particular time. And so it's the same for shoes. If you're going to, the size of your foot is smaller in the morning and you buy a shoe in the evening and where your foot has expanded, then that shoe is going to be uncomfortable on your foot. So you're yes and no. If you're going to be wearing the shoe in the middle of the day or towards the evening, yes, that is the time to buy the shoe. But if your activity is in the morning, that is when you should buy the shoe or try the shoe on. And so, okay, if feet are different sizes, which size to buy for bigger or smaller feet? If your feet are different sizes, well, I would buy for the larger foot, because that foot is going to be comfortable in the shoe. And then what I would do is I would put on an extra sock to compensate for the other shoe. So that's how I would solve that issue. Yes. So any other questions before I go forward? And Angelo says, carry on. So I just want to say, go to a specialty store first and don't buy online until you find a shoe that's best for you. Determine whether you have a supinated, pronated, neutral, or flat foot, and look for a shoe with the right support for your foot and a toe box with room for your feet or your toes to splay. Okay? And so, thank you so much, Marianne. I'm so glad you found this informative. Also, look for shoes with a mesh upper that allows sweaty feet to breathe and keep moisture away. So, thank you for joining me today. If you like this video, let me know in the comment with a comment. And feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and share this video with your friends. Share this information, because I really want people to not only live more vibrantly, but to be able to feel comfortable in their skin and in their shoes. I'll see you next time, and always remember, it's your life. Live it well.